Hello everyone and welcome back to the next part of our summary series, moving back into the factory server, where the true rebellion can begin. Where we last left off our heroes, they had just taken care of Digimon and everything going on in the Gale server, which was a lot, so if you need more, go check out the previous review video to see what all happened here. So, they would decide to return to the factory server. And this time, luckily on the way back, they find a spot in the digital dive that has a very thin airstream and cuts the amount of time it takes for them to return. So it seems fast, easy, and great. It returns them to their rendezvous point. So none of the Digimon that were there previously are there anymore. Trying to decide what they wanted to do next, they decided that, seeing as the junkyard had security increased already before they left, that seemed like a logical place to go investigate. So, devising a plan with their allies who had created a diversion so they could sneak into the junkyard. And the plan seemed to go very well. There wasn't a whole lot of resistance here, but a lot of blasting, as they seemed to be trying to get into another one of these mysterious doors that couldn't be opened by any means it seemed. So the party seemed to know just what to do based on the doors they had seen previously. So, they moved in to engage in battle in order to get into that door. The battle raged on across the junkyard, everyone trying their best to hold down certain points in order to get in deeper. When Ludamon came up face to face with a Digimon, and a very dangerous creature as it counterattacked and could tear through its armor, Adrian, seeing this, threw himself in the way in order to take the blow himself. And in seeing his partner in such pain, the junk of the junkyard came flying in, reinforcing Ludamon, as he became Tio Ludamon for the first time, able to defend himself and his partner and everyone else. As reinforcements started to come from other places, the party was able to defeat the Digimon in their way, and using their Digivices, unlock the door and able to get themselves into this mysterious area. They went down a brief staircase, found an elevator, and took it all the way down to the bottom floor. Where here, they found a tower, or some circular area that seemed to have these very strange Digimon in it. Though as soon as they showed them their Digivices, these Digimon stood down, though they did not seem to speak or really have any faces, so to speak of. And they encountered many mysterious things here. Prototype Digivices that were previous versions of the ones they had. Eggs that seemed broken and cracked and otherwise malused, along with monitors that showed two other servers that they could see. One of which turned out to be a marshy area, with some Digimon that seemed to want this, whatever this thing was, just to go away. Speaking of a terrible human that was here and its scary bird, along with a Mephistomon that had terrorized this server for a long time. Now, thankfully, apparently gone. But they also encountered another monitor that had things on it. Another more jungly area, with a small, cute Dracomon talking to what appeared to be a Beepermon, as it turned out that the same beeps that they had heard previously were coming from whatever they were viewing through. So it turns out that, as they later found out, these creatures called Eosmon, they were able to monitor through and talk to. Dracomon speaking of a machine that was nearing completion in about a week, likely being very similar to the machine that had summoned the humans to this digital world in the first place. And also discovering that here, on this server, was the Dominimon that they had all heard about. But within the tower, they were also able to discover a little more information. This turned out to be Quantumon's lab. Quantumon was attempting to create the Digivices as a way to escape this digital world in order to go to other servers of the digital world, such as Iliad, in case their questionable leader, Yggdrasil, decided to go on another rampage. And many of its experiments therein, largely being surprised that a Professor Langsley was mentioned as a human that was first contacted, and some of the final logs that it gave were talking about how it would be going to the human world soon to investigate what it was truly like. So these dates were right around the time of the Great Crash, so was it actually responsible for it? Did it actually succeed? Time is unclear. Also mentioning that there was a large time dilation between the humans and digital world, which it was working on with its powers to attempt to fix. So the party decided to leave, going back up into the junkyard, and Instead of fighting, they decided that the creatures wanted to get in, and since they could steal them in with their Digivices, they allowed them to go in, running away and going back to their rendezvous point with their allies. Unfortunately, when they got there, all they found was an Espimon, not their allies. It turns out that Kowatamon had been trying to fly and was taken down by a Digimon, so the others were rushing in to attempt to rescue him. But also it told them about how the generator had fallen into the void, and now it seemed like it was only a matter of time before that the oil factory was going to fall too, and that the Free Coalition was going to attempt to free as many of them as they can. They decided that hopefully their friends could handle rescuing Kowatamon. They decided to go with the Free Code Coalition and meet up with them. Here they met up with everyone that they had previously known, and among some new faces that had joined the coalition since then. They told everyone of all of the information that they learned, and many of them were quite amazed with just how much they had possibly been able to learn in such a short amount of time. But also revealed that, yes, it did definitely seem that despite the party only being gone for a couple of days in the Gale server, that at least 4 days had passed. Something was strange about the way time was working. And they became great heroes and friends as they brought all the food from Gale server. Everyone loved them. But the love was only short-lived, as it was time to prepare for the assault upon the oil factory. Luckily, in the night, their friends, mangled and beat up a bit, were able to return and help them on their next part of the mission. So, while the rest of the group either snuck out civilians or were attempting to hold the bridge, the party decided they were going to go right in for one of the lieutenants of WaruMonzaemon, Pippismon, who Impmon especially seemed to have a vendetta against. Heading into the oil factory, they didn't encounter a lot of resistance, easily able to take care of a parademic Digimon that were here. But the scarier thing that they discovered, that among the oil rising up out of its depths, was this disgusting Digimon that tried to drag in a Kodamon into the depths. They were able to save the Kodamon as it slunk back down into the depths. But it was not the last they would see of Raremon. As a GM, you love to set up and show people that this is a mechanic that will happen, but sometimes as players, they don't catch on. Coming charging in, ready to go, they found that there were still some more civilians here, who decided to all run for the hills as the party moved in to engage. But, of course, as the party decided to move into this large room, they quickly got split up, many of them getting caught up by Raremon as they emerged out of vats, and Pippismon being a coward staying far in the back. But finally, after a lot of engagement, Impmon was able to get his moment up against Pippismon himself, staring down the one that had pretty much sent him to his doom earlier. So angry, seeing Pippismon swooping down in on it, it was able to see every bit of its movements, and became Wizardmon. And so desperate, despite everything going wrong, Floramon being unconscious, everyone working away at one hit point, Wizardmon decided to stick it out and stay along as he could in order to see Pippismon defeated. And somehow, through sheer dumb luck and maybe a little bit of manipulation of the rules, that the GM understands why the rules are the way they are now, Wizardmon was barely able to escape and defeat Pippismon in the same time. But on their way out, despite everything happening, them barely getting away, seeing a couple of unfortunate civilians that they had to leave behind, and hearing all the Raremon still in the pipes, Greymon made a difficult choice and decided to blow up one of the vats, the fire spreading through all of the different pipes and exploding, setting the entire structure shaking, and as they ran out, the entire oil factory and island fell into the digital void. With a heavy heart, they returned to the hideout because they knew that the rebellion had started. There was one thing that was on everyone's mind now. WaruMonzaemon. What would he do now that the fighting had been declared? such a clear statement had been sent. And after a while of sitting down, talking with each other, it was all they could do. Everyone else of the Free Coalition would keep everything else at bay and allow the party to get one good shot at WaruMonzaemon. So they took off for the battery factory, where there they found the traitor Tentamon that had put them all at risk, bound on the wall, and the horrible WaruMonzaemon, doing the evil monologuing speech of offering them power in order to help when Grand Drakmon returns and would be able to help them throughout it all, buying himself some time for his defenses to power up. So when the party finally did engage with him, he was fully ready. The pylons along, debuffing and harrowing them, WaruMonzaemon turning them against each other as they fought, barely even taking them seriously in a defensive stance to begin. And only finally, after a long time of starting to wear him down, did they finally break through and make him take the battle seriously. And that is when it happened. Seeing that Greymon was in grave danger, Balukimon ran in, sacrificing itself in order to save Greymon from the huge claw that would have taken it down, getting deleted. With that sacrifice, seeing the evil of this creature, the party was able to rally forth, and Shurimon, with a well-placed shuriken, was able to finally take down the terror and reign of WaruMonzaemon. But as they returned out to see all of the defeated Digimon in destruction, it was clear that this victory was not without cost. Not only had they lost Balukimon, but Ballistamon and Kawatamon also fell in the conflict at hand. And while they had defeated WaruMonzaemon, and truly this server was liberated, there was a heavy heart for many people and Digimon after all that had happened. And there you are. That's caught up to all 11 sessions of Digimon Rebellion. And now, where the party goes from here, that's up to them. But thank you all for watching. If you've continued to enjoy Digimon Rebellion, thank you so much. I do know we get some people coming out to the streams and stuff, and I hope you really do enjoy. It's a lot of work to make all these maps, Digimon, and everything. And the more you guys enjoy it, the more it feels like all of that effort has truly been worth it. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I'll see you on the next stream. We do this every other Saturday on Twitch and on YouTube. So hopefully I'll see you there. Thank you, everyone. And on the somber note of all of the friends that we've lost, both in the real world and here in the fake campaign, I wish you well. Good night.